entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes. Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah. Did Jay reach out yet? Nah, Bob. He ghosting. What the f*** is this motherfucker doing?
So one of my best friends, she's not here today. She was human trapped by Naomi Campbell. And Naomi is also Diddy's the godmother. So she started meeting with all these famous people, and they connected her with certain people. And then all of a sudden she's at these parties, and I see she's doing drugs and getting out of control. And eventually I had to start rescuing her from parties. And then a few of the times I had to rescue her from Naomi Campbell's apartment, sleep over, and then I would pick her up.
This is a direct character assassination. I've always said that I'm not a saint, that I am a work in progress, but I will not be held hostage by my past. What he's done is indefensible.
I think that in 5 years, people will still be saying, she's a bitch. I hope so. I hope they do.
Something like, you'll never be me, don't ever think that you'll be me, and something like
that.
that.
I said that?
Yes.
I can't think that's something, I'm not that, I'm very much I'm very much, I know the person that I am, and I'm not someone to go and give myself away and say that to anybody. I've never said that in my life. So, but if that's what you remember, I accept that, but it's not, doesn't sound like me.
Don't shorten your dress. They would never
to me.
They would never make you walk in a dress
on my level,
much
Nicole.
longer.
You never will be on my level. Do not compare yourself to me.
Imagine sitting in a federal prison and deciding that the smartest move you can make is to get on the phone and start talking. And not just talking, allegedly naming names. Names of people who were supposedly right there with you the whole time. Now, what if one of those names belonged to one of the most iconic supermodels who ever walked this earth? Because according to reports circulating right now, and that is allegedly exactly what happened, and Naomi Campbell may have no idea just how much trouble is reportedly heading her way.
I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend Flavio. He was always front and center at Victoria's Secret shows.
Did you suspect what he was doing?
No. And what he's done is indefensible. And when I heard of what he'd done, it sickened me to my stomach, just like everybody else. Because I've had my fair share of predators. And thank God that I had good people around me that protected me from this. I mean, right now I stand with the victims. I can't, they're scarred for life.
Now, before we even get into all of that, let's set the scene, because this story didn't start with a prison call. It starts, like so many of these stories do, with a name that keeps showing up where it absolutely should not be. And if you've been paying attention to the Epstein files that dropped recently, then you already know Naomi's name was right there in the middle of it. According to documents reportedly released by the DOJ, Naomi allegedly appeared in multiple flight logs connected to Epstein's private jet. One report stated she allegedly took 5 trips on that plane in 2001 and 2003, 2 of them originating from the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Epstein allegedly owned an island, known for what sources describe as deeply disturbing gatherings. Some of those flights reportedly headed toward the Sao Paulo, Brazil area. And if that wasn't enough, Epstein was allegedly spotted at multiple Victoria's Secret shows. And according to reports at the time, he and Naomi were seen leaving together on more than one occasion. Now, Naomi came out and said she had no idea who this man was or what he was doing, that she was introduced to him at her 31st birthday party by her then boyfriend, Flavio Briatore, and that was supposedly the extent of it.
So one of my best friends, she's not here today. She was human trafficked. Naomi Campbell. And Naomi is also Diddy's the godmother. So she started meeting with all these famous people, and they connected her with certain people. And then all of a sudden she's at these parties, and I see she's doing drugs and getting out of control. And eventually I had to start rescuing her from parties. And then a few of the times I had to rescue her from Naomi Campbell's apartment, sleep over. And then I would pick her up and bring her to her apartment because she was so high on drugs.
What kind of drugs was she doing?
Everything. She had they provide the drug for you. So she would open her purse and it would just be everything, whatever you wanted. It was like a pharmacy.
Who would open the purse?
Oh, she would. Oh, she's like, what do you need, Babs? Do you need anything? I would say, I don't do anything. Oh.
And look, the denial itself wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part is what came after it. Because here's the thing people keep missing. There were reportedly emails found inside those same Epstein documents that allegedly showed Naomi was in active coordination with key figures in that circle, including what sources describe as plans involving Ghislaine Maxwell. Naomi's spokesperson reportedly came out and said she does not recognize that email exchange. But that denial is doing a lot of heavy lifting when you consider that multiple alleged survivors have claimed she was far more embedded in that inner circle than she has ever publicly admitted. None of this has been proven in court, but that's exactly what makes it so alarming, because this is a pattern, not a one-time thing. See, she pulled this exact same move with Harvey Weinstein. Same script, barely knew him, had no idea what he was doing, and then the receipts came out. So when she sat in that interview and delivered those same lines about Epstein, a lot of people weren't buying it this time. But then things got a whole lot darker when a model came forward and made allegations that were, frankly, hard to hear.
It's kind of she gets out of it.
Well, she gets money. When you bring models or people that can easily be manipulated, you get funded. You get funded. How does she own an island being a supermodel?
I didn't know she owns an island.
Yeah, she owns an island. Mm-hmm. But this is crime scene investigation.
Yeah.
But it opens your eyes to things that you never even thought of, and I connect all the dots.
Now, reportedly, according to what this woman described, her close friend was allegedly the victim of sex trafficking, and she claims Naomi Campbell was at the center of it. She described allegedly having to rescue her friend from Naomi's apartment on multiple occasions, saying her friend had been given drugs at these gatherings, that Naomi allegedly kept what was described as a pharmacy-level supply on hand, and that this went on for an extended period of time. These are serious allegations that have not been proven in any court. But the detail in what was described was specific enough that it sparked a wave of people going back and connecting dots they hadn't connected before, because it wasn't just Uggs. According to this woman, Naomi was allegedly also bringing young women from Africa into Europe under the guise of modeling recruitment, and none of them ever walked a runway. Several videos reportedly resurfaced of her allegedly recruiting these women, and nobody can confirm what actually happened to them afterward. And that is where this gets deeply unsettling.
Naomi was coming to Nairobi to do some shopping. She was on holiday, but on a remote place. So she was in Nairobi doing shopping. And I texted her and she told me she's in Nairobi. So I was so excited to meet her. She was the first celebrity I was ever going to meet. Guys, I was to the roof. She texted me. She was like, hey, I'm here. She texted me the location. I went directly. I went with my brother. So my brother and I, we met her, we did some shopping. And as we're shopping, she's like, oh, the plane that's taking us back actually has couple more seats. Do you and your brother want to join us on holiday? Hell yes. So I was like, oh, that would be so lovely. She introduced me to a couple of people, in Hollywood, of people she was on vacation with were coming to Nairobi after the vacation. They were staying at the Kempinski. So I went to see them at the Kempinski when the whole thing was over. So I sat down with them, I was talking to one of them, and one of them was like, oh, it's so, like, how did you meet Naomi? And I was like, oh, no, I texted her on Instagram, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, yeah, she told us, like, she made you and she built you and she made your career. And I was like, what? No, that's not what happened. And I was like, you mean like helped me and like promoted me? And she was like, no, like what you have is because of her. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that didn't happen. Time goes by. March 2022. We have jumped into March 2022. I get a phone call. My phone is ringing. Naomi Campbell. Oh, so I pick up. I'm like, hey sis, like how are you? How are you doing? And she's like, Elsa, how dare you? Oh! So I'm in shock, right? I'm in shock. I don't know what's going on. She was like, this is the last time I'm speaking to you. Have a nice life. And she hung up, which I was very saddened by the situation, right? But I was like, if that's how she truly feels, because I respect people's space. So I was like, if that's how she truly feels, fine, it's okay. So I let it go. So after that, like a few months, things started going very badly for me. Things started going haywire. And I didn't think I thought it was because of the situation. Let me not lie. But I was like, also it can be stress. I was like, let me go. Because also having someone like Naomi Campbell not liking you in the industry is not a good thing. So I went to her, I apologized. I'd already apologized when the situation had happened, but I went and I apologized again and again. I tried calling her, I tried texting her, and then one day she just texted me and she was like, stop stop calling me. I have a child to take care of. So after that, I just said, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. I started drinking. That's why I even quit alcohol. I started drinking. I started drinking a lot. Yeah. And then, because I wasn't sure why things were going so wrong, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then a few months later, I met Edward Enninful at a party, and Edward Enninful is oh my goodness, he's one of the people I adore the most. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's Edward, I have to go say hi. So I'm like, hey, Edward, I'm such a big fan. And he looks at me, he's like, I know you. And then he said something that made me think the situation with Naomi was causing like some of the trials and tribulations I was currently going.
There was also the story of Kenyan-American influencer Elsa Majimbo, who came forward and alleged that Naomi brought her into her circle when Elsa was just 19 years old, allegedly tried to set her up with multiple wealthy older men, and when Elsa reportedly made it clear she wasn't interested in any of that, Naomi allegedly had her blackballed from the industry entirely. And word on the street is Elsa's career took a serious hit after that. She reportedly started drinking heavily, couldn't figure out why things kept going wrong for her professionally, until she allegedly connected the dots herself.
You received a diamond from Charles.
I didn't receive a diamond, and I'm not going to speak about that. Thank you very much. And I'm not here for that.
Well, we've been told that you didn't help the prosecution sort of in this very important case.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. Goodbye. When I was sleeping, I had a knock at my door, and I opened my door, and two men were there and gave me a pouch and said, "A gift for you."
Did you ask them who they were?
No, I was extremely tired. When they gave me the pouch, I just put it next to my bed and went back to bed.
What did you think the stones were?
They were kind of dirty looking pebbles. They were dirty, I don't know.
And if you think that's the wildest part of Naomi's history, buckle up, because back in 2010, she was called to testify against former Liberian President Charles Taylor, a man who was reportedly charged with arming rebel groups during the Sierra Leone Civil War from 1991 to 2002, a conflict where civilians were allegedly subjected to horrifying atrocities. While he was allegedly committing those crimes, he reportedly got his hands on a large supply of blood diamonds, and according to prosecutors at the time, some of those diamonds allegedly ended up in Naomi's hands as a gift. When she first got asked about it publicly, she shut it down immediately.
After watching the Diddy documentary, I found myself going back down the Epstein rabbit hole, which then led me to the dark side of Naomi Campbell. If you're unaware, Naomi Campbell is one of the original supermodels, one of the first Black women to appear on major publications, featured on over 500 magazine covers, and worked for some of, if not all, of the biggest fashion houses. It's safe to say she has insane connections. One of those being Jeffrey Epstein, publicly admitted that she knew Jeffrey Epstein and was introduced to him when she was 31. She was introduced to Epstein by her ex-boyfriend Flavio Briatore, I don't know. The reason this is important is because this Flavio fella is connected to a lot of sketchy people, or people that we know today to be sketchy. We see this a lot where supermodels are dating people like this. Flavio also has a child with Heidi Klum. Anyway, Flavio and Naomi are pictured on Epstein's yacht, surrounded by a lot of people, including, at the time, teenage Virginia Giuffre. So there's no denying that Naomi was connected to Epstein and his cohorts. Allegedly, there are emails where Naomi is talking about Ghislaine Maxwell being a close friend of hers, arranging trips to foreign countries. Naomi's spokesperson came out and said Naomi does not recognize this email exchange. There are claims from survivors that she was more involved in Epstein's inner circle than she leads on, allegedly. A lot of these documents remain sealed or unverified. It means that we can't really say she's guilty of any wrongdoing, but she definitely has connections to some of these sketchy people. Another really sketchy name she was allegedly romantically linked to was the disgraced Sean Diddy Combs. This was in the early 2000s, and they were seen going to many events together, but they were never confirmed as a couple. A lot of people think that models happen to end up in these circles because they're in the pageant world or the supermodel world, which breeds creepy, weird old men who want to be in charge of that.
But when she was actually put under oath, the story changed. She admitted to receiving what she described as dirty-looking pebbles from two unnamed men who knocked on her door in the middle of the night while she was staying at Nelson Mandela's home in South Africa. She claimed she didn't know where they came from and that she donated them to charity. Here's the part people miss, though. Both her former assistant Carol White and actress Mia Farrow, who were reportedly on that same trip, allegedly disputed her version of events entirely. According to both of them, Naomi allegedly knew exactly who sent those diamonds and was reportedly more than happy to show them off. And then, there are the assaults. Between 1998 and 2009, Naomi was reportedly convicted 11 times for physically attacking members of her own staff. Her former assistant, Georgina Galanis, accused her of allegedly grabbing her by the throat and shaking her until she collapsed. Another assistant, Vanessa Frisbee, reportedly came forward with similar allegations. And somehow, through all of it, Naomi managed to keep moving, kept showing up at the right parties, maintained the right friendships, and kept the machine running, which brings us to the charity situation that she apparently did not expect people to find out about. And according to reports from roughly a year ago, she was investigated after allegations surfaced that she had allegedly diverted millions of dollars donated to her charity organization and used those funds on designer goods, private jets, luxury travel, and personal expenses. None of that has resulted in a proven conviction as of the making of this video, but the investigation alone raised serious questions. And then there's her island. An allegedly gifted 25-bedroom eco-mansion shaped like the Egyptian Eye of Horus, reportedly given to her by former Russian billionaire boyfriend Vladislav Doronin for her 41st birthday. That island has come up repeatedly in conversations about Epstein, with some people alleging, though not proven, that it may have been used in ways that investigators hadn't previously looked at closely. And baby, once that rumor got out, people started looking at everything she owned differently. But here's where the whole thing escalates into something else entirely. According to circulating reports, and let me be clear, these details have not been officially confirmed, investigators allegedly came across phone calls that Diddy made from prison that reportedly implicate Naomi in a serious way. The specific contents of those alleged calls have not been made public, but the reason this hit differently is because of how tight Naomi and Diddy reportedly were to begin with. She allegedly attended every major event he hosted, including his 54th birthday celebration in London and his album release parties, and if you know anything about what reportedly happened at those after parties, then you understand why her name showing up in that context matters. What's more, Diddy reportedly flew all the way to London with Young Miami just to surprise Naomi with a cake when she received her honorary PhD. And let's be honest, Diddy, according to what we now allegedly know about him, did not go out of his way for people who weren't deeply connected to his world. Some sources have gone further and alleged, without court-proven evidence, that Naomi may have been operating as a kind of facilitator in his alleged network, reportedly connected to the flow of women at these events. None of that is confirmed, but the allegation is out there, and investigators are reportedly not dismissing it. And it's wild, because if you step back and look at the full picture, the Epstein flight logs, the alleged blood diamonds, the staff assaults, the charity fraud allegations, the reports about young women never being seen again, Elsa Majimbo's story, and now, allegedly, a prison call from Diddy, you start to wonder how any one person stays out of serious legal trouble for this long. Some people online have pointed out that Naomi allegedly continued associating with Epstein even after he pleaded guilty in 2008 to soliciting sex from a minor, reportedly still inviting him to events, and according to some accounts, even requesting access to his private jet. That's not a rumor. That's being pulled directly from reported documentation. And yet, for years, she kept walking runways, kept showing up at galas, kept building her brand like none of it was closing in on her. So I want to know what you actually think. Because with alleged prison call recordings reportedly in the hands of investigators, and with so many people now publicly coming forward, the question isn't really whether Naomi has connections to all of this anymore. The evidence of those connections is already out there. The real question is, do you think those alleged phone calls from Diddy are finally enough to make her the next major name to face serious legal consequences? Or is she going to pull off yet another disappearing act? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because this conversation is just getting started. And if you want to go even deeper on this story, click right here because that video will change the way you see all of it.